pain sucks. Chronic illness sucks. Diagnosis sucks ass. But if we have to deal with it, there has to be a more inviting approach to it, right? It has to be. I don't think we will be given anything in this world that we cannot handle. Yeah? So I'm going to talk all about some of the things I do dealing with my chronic illness in this video right here.
Petty with your time, be less petty with your mind, be less petty with your blame.
Hello friends, it's your girl Kellye Howard. Welcome back to my channel, Be Less Petty TV, cause some shit, most shit is not that serious. Except when it comes to my health, right? The health, the body, the way that we function, our mobility, when that starts to take a toll, we get worried, we get stressed. And me having been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2014, my mobility is one of the biggest risks within this disease. Now, before I get too far into talking about some of the tools and tips and things that I do and rely on when I'm feeling a certain type of way, I want to talk about word choice. One thing I never say around this disease is I have. Well, I'm not going to say I never say that. I try not to say I have multiple sclerosis. I really try to be mindful to say I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, because saying I have is claiming it. It is owning that disease. Like, I have this. No. I was diagnosed, and I'm going to try my best to manage these symptoms within that diagnosis. So yeah, mindful of what we say and how we use our words when we're talking about our body, our mind. You know, I really get frustrated when I hear people say, oh, I'm so dumb, or I'm so stupid. Like, these things really do matter, and I never thought that they matter as much as they do, and your words are very powerful. So I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2014, and I've had some emotional up and downs with this thing, physical ones as well. I lost my vision a couple years back while on a commercial set. Okay, they didn't know I lost my vision because I was not about to get fired. Sure didn't. I just dealt with it and continued to do whatever task I was doing within the commercial and got off set, and that was that. I was not about to let them know, but it was so fucking scary. Like, I was like, oh my God, I have no vision in my left eye. What am I going to do? And then I wasn't sure if it was permanent. So that was even more scary. So I know that chronic pain and illness and all of those things can be very scary, especially when it comes out of nowhere. Just this past weekend, over July 4th weekend, I lost feeling in my left leg. My arm started like burning out of control. My hands, I couldn't grasp. It was really scary because, like I said, you never know if these things are permanent. And as afraid as I was, I had to go back to those tools that I've been setting in place over the years that I know work when I'm feeling distressed and anxious and feeling like this could possibly take me in a downward spiral. Some of the things I did was like recite and don't get it twisted. Don't say that I'm like, oh, well, I just recited my affirmations and everything was good. And I was like, oh my God, I'm okay and I'm healthy. No, I was boo-hoo-wing, okay? I was crying like, I am okay. I am strong. Everything is always working out for me. Like, I was really in this moment trying to call upon these affirmations, trying to call upon these good feelings and the positivity as I have no feeling in my leg or my arm. I'm messaging my neurologist back and forth. She's like, it sounds to me like you've had a relapse, yet I'm on medication. So what does that mean? Why am I having a relapse in the midst of being on medication that should be working? You know, all of these things were very concerning to me. But like I said, it's very important that we check our minds as well as our words, right? So I had to check myself in the midst of all of that and say, Kellye, but what can you do right now? And that's easier said than done, but that's why we practice. That's why we watch videos like this. That's why we hear other people's stories and figure out tools and tips and things that they use that help them out so that we can implement it in our own lives. So some of the tips and tools that I've cultivated over the years is, one, affirmations, right? Watching my words, watching what I say. In the midst of me having my relapse this weekend, I continued to say, I am okay. I am strong. Everything is always working out for me. I even have that on my wall. Like, it is so important to have these things in your vicinity so that you can easily access them when you need them. Something else I do is I have a happy playlist that I play too, because I was feeling kind of down and I was like, okay, let me put on this happy playlist, let me get my emotions right. So I put on my happy playlist and I started to really just embody the music of some of my favorite songs and some of my favorite artists, and it took me to that happy place, that happy time. And even in the midst of me having this, and I still currently do not have feeling in my left foot as I'm making this video, but as you can see, I have a much happier disposition. I'm in a much better mood than as I spoke in the earlier in the video when I was crying, right? I'm in a much better mood because I was starting to protect my mental space. I'm aware that this is part of the disease. This can happen. I can lose mobility. I can lose balance. I can have these things and they might be permanent, but what can't be permanent is how I think about them. I can't sit and think negative thoughts about what's happening to my body. It is what it is. And the beautiful thing about our brains is it's so malleable that it compensates. So if the right side of your body starts to be some type of way, the left side of your body gonna step up and say, yo, let me do this for you. Let me get stronger for you. That's just how our minds work. So as much as I don't want to lose feeling in my right hand or feeling in my left foot, thank God I'm left-handed. But at the end of the day, I know that my mind and my body will compensate as long as I am infusing that belief in myself and the possibilities of it doing so. So yeah, that is also one of my tips. That happy songs, the music, something to just really get you feeling really good and just remembering to speak positive thoughts within this, because it's hard sometimes. And also another thing that I do, one of my tips is permission to cry. It is okay to feel bad about what you're in, or to feel sad about your situation, to feel sad about not having mobility. It's a real human thing to be like, fuck, I once could walk and now I can't. I once was able to carry a box and now I can't. I once was able to bend down and now I can't. Like, those are real things to mourn, right? Like, shit. Mourn your mobility, but don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck in mourning, because that is what keeps us in that downward emotional negative spiral that does not help whatever condition we're in at the time. I almost forgot this tip. Also, when we have these things happen to our bodies, right? We have to be very, very mindful of what we're doing. What are our habits? I had to take stock of my habits this last weekend. Like, as I started to feel pain and as I started to get weaker and I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? I started to really notice that I was not being mindful about how I eat. I was eating all types of sugars and inflammatories and shit that is just setting my immune system off the Richter scale. Like, I really was not being mindful of my body and mind during the time of that relapse. I know I wasn't. Even missing days of meditation, right? There are certain habits that we can cultivate, that we can decide to do to help us through these painful and sometimes misunderstood. Like, our families, though, however supportive they can be, will never understand the pain, the physical pain that you're feeling and the emotional and mental pain that you're feeling from not having full mobility or constant chronic pain. So, and don't ever push that support away. If you got it, embrace it. That's one thing I'm working on, is I'm so prideful. I do everything myself. I'm so hands-on that when I'm weak, I don't want to ask for help. Like, I was at Lowe's with my husband and I was like, I need the cart. I was like, let me push the cart. And he somehow kept getting the cart. And I finally just said it. I was like, I'm weak and I need the cart. And it was so hard for me to admit that I needed that cart, but I needed that cart. So if you need the help, don't be too prideful. If you have family that is willing to help you, then be sure to allow them to help you, because that support will build up your confidence in being able to get better and do more for yourself. So those are some of my tips and tools with dealing with chronic illness. It really is important to be mindful of our mental space and how we think about our disease and how we allow the disease to control our lives, because we have more control over the disease than the disease do over us. Believe it or not, because it starts in here. So thank you so much for tuning in to Be Less Petty TV, my channel, because some shit, most shit is not that serious. Even chronic illness, as serious as it seems, we can decide to think better thoughts about it, which can make it a little less serious. And we can change some of those petty habits that we know are interfering with us being our healthiest selves. I'm your girl, Kellye Howard. Please do subscribe to the channel. More videos every Friday. Eventually, I'll roll back to Tiny Tip Tuesdays back out, but I'm trying to just get my feet stable, y'all. I'm trying to balance, quite literally, actually. And just with the channel, I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys good information, as well as healing myself in the process. So thank you for tuning in. This has been Be Less Petty TV. I'm your girl, Kellye Howard. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you here next week.
Be less petty with your time. Be less petty with your mind. Be less petty with your blame. All that petty shit is lame. Be less petty with your friends. Love first. Make amends. Be less petty with your life. Be less petty with your wife. Okay.